Once I started giving my mother money regularly at the end of every month, that's really the point where I started to see my money making a change or making a difference, or I started to see my savings grow. Hi guys, thanks for tuning in and welcome back to another video. So today is a Friday, and in this video today I'm going to be sharing with you about how I finally managed to save, or to be able to save up some significant amount of money in Qatar, coming right up. So if you may well remember, sometime in the beginning of last year, I shared with you guys that I had stayed in the country for 2 years without anything to show for it. Like, I wasn't able to save or to put any money aside. I'm not a shopaholic and I'm not even a spendthrift, but somehow I couldn't see where my money was going to, nor was I seeing my savings grow. In fact, for a very long time, my account back in Kenya never used to receive a dime. And it's not like I was even saving around here, which is a very bad thing. I mean, the whole reason why we sacrifice and leave our families behind to come to work in this place is to be able to do something out of it, to be able to do something significant, because nobody is going to stay in this country forever. We all want to work for a specified period of time and then go back and do something significant with our lives, or move to, another step. But of course, that was not the case with me, and for the following reasons that I'm going to share with you, and hopefully you will not make the same mistake, especially if you still have a lot of time, or maybe you still are counting many years to stay in this country, maybe 2 years, 3 years, I don't know. But as for me right now, I feel like my time is running up so fast, and I should soon be going back home to take care of my daughter. So, number one thing that I did, but that was not actually anything different. I've always been very faithful when it comes to tithing, or to give my 10% at the end of the month. So, when I make my monthly budget, once I receive my salary and I make my monthly budget, usually the first subtraction, 10%, goes into tithe, and then these other expenses will come in. I will know how much I'm going to pay for internet. I'll know how much I need to do for shopping and all that stuff. So, and the thing why I'm even mentioning about tithe is because it has really, I believe, helped me to keep my job, or to protect my job, because it's something that God has promised, that if you are faithful with your tithe, then He will rebuke the devourer on your behalf. The devourer means anything that may want to take your job away, or anything that may make you make a mistake that will cause you to lose your job. So God has been faithful that far, as long as I've also been faithful with tithing, I've been able to keep my job. But on the contrary, I didn't feel like the money was blessed in a way that it would grow, or even I would make some significant investments, like for the past 2 years, or the first 2 years since I came to this country. And one thing that I realized was the cause of that was because I was neglecting one very important aspect of money or financial intelligence, which is honoring your father and your mother. So my mom doesn't work, she's a housewife, okay? So yes, of course, she gets a lot of support from my dad. She gets everything she needs from my dad. And I think I had that mentality that anyway, she doesn't need so much support from me, because she already has, she's a very big saver herself. So I just assumed that, okay, I can give her money maybe once in 3 months and stuff, and I was okay with that. Until I actually had her complain that we don't really remember her when we get, our salaries at the end of the month, or something like that. And that was the last time that I was home. So I made it I made a solemn vow that as I would be giving my tithe, I will also be making sure that I put aside some money to give to my mom. Not because she's taking care of my daughter, but because she's my mom, and I am honoring her for that. I know that did not really, for my dad, usually what I did, especially towards the end of last year, I spent some really good amount of money to buy her some very expensive shoes, because for him, he's working, he has a regular income, so even giving him like a few thousands here and there at the end of the month would not really make a very big impact on him. But for my mom, it really goes a long way, because as I said, she's not working, she's a housewife, and she has all this merry-go-round or chama that she needs to contribute at the end of every month. So the much I give her at the end of every month really comes through for her when it comes to that. Not forgetting that she also takes care of my daughter. My daughter needs her hair done, she needs snacks for school and stuff like that. So once I started giving my mother money regularly at the end of every month, that is really the point where I started to see my money making a change or making a difference, or I started to see my savings grow. It doesn't matter how what expenses I had at the end of the month, or what expenses I had in between the month, but as long as I gave God his part and I gave my mom her part, I was well able to manage with whatever was left, and I was still able to save and see my savings grow. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you are that person that doesn't remember your parents, especially is maybe they are old and not working anymore, please take it as a challenge, because you might think that you might be a mice and think, why am I giving them this money anyway? I need it for this, I need it for that, I'm struggling with this. But truth be told, maybe you still buy yourself a pair of shoes every month, you still buy yourself new clothes every month, and yet you cannot spare a dime to honor your parents. So that's a challenge for you, something that really worked for me, to be able to see that my finances were actually being blessed and growing and making a difference. The third thing that is very important about saving is having a goal. Like, if you're just saving for the sake of saving, you will not have the discipline, and you might even stop at the end of the day, because what's the point? Because I think for those 2 years that I was not really very disciplined in saving is because I did not have any goal. I was just working for the sake of working. Of course, I knew that I had to support my daughter, I had to pay her school fees, and as long as I was comfortably able to do that, at the end of the day, nothing else really mattered. I used to have a lot of cash with me, even in my wallet, that I didn't even know what I wanted to do with it. So I ended up wasting it. Once we used to go to the mall, I would just buy whatever would be in front of me without even a care in the world, because it was there without a purpose. My money did not have a purpose. So sometime last year, especially during the pandemic, which got me to think that, of course, I do not want to be in this place for so much, for much longer. You know how the pandemic really kept people away from their families, and I just wanted to do something that would make me be able to stay with my daughter and also be able to support her, of course. So I got to thinking, and a friend of mine, I think in the process of talking about all this separation anxiety and all that, I was going through the depression. Somebody suggested to me about a certain project, which I thought was really interesting. And that project actually needed me to have something like 1.5 million Kenya shillings for me to be able to see the realization of it. And of course, that was very far-fetched, given that wow, that would take me that would have taken me such a long time to be able to hit that target. But of course, I was thinking, if I had been disciplined, even if I had just said that I would be saving even 40,000 Kenya shillings or 50,000 Kenya shillings every month since the time I came to Qatar, then by the time I needed that money, which was sometime last year, it would have been very easy for me. But still, that did not discourage me, even though I was thinking oh my God, in my account, as much as I was now trying to save, it had less than 100,000 Kenya shillings, in Kenya. But of course, I had started to accumulate some money here in Qatar, which had gotten to something like 7,500. But once I was introduced to this project, without thinking much thought, or without maybe doing a thorough research about it, I ended up making something like an initial investment of 5,500 Qatari riyals, which is something like 170,000, which was a very bad mistake. Money that I was really trying to economize and to be disciplined to put away for it to grow, suddenly, 5,500 of it was gone, and it really hasn't helped me until this day. So, but because I had a goal and I knew that I wanted to see the realization of it, I did not get discouraged. That just because it was a bad investment, I did not get discouraged. I continued to save. So my advice would be, if you're really trying to save money, you will really find predators, people that will come to you with idea this and idea that. So before you really give away your hard-earned cash to somebody in the name of helping you do this and that, please think it through. Take your time and really do your research to know that you are investing into a profitable venture and you're not just wasting your money, which is something that happened to me. But aside from that, because I continued to tithe, I continued to follow my follow my dream and my to try and reach my target. I did not get discouraged. I continued to save. At the end of the month, I continued to save, and thanks to the pandemic, somehow, at around May, last year, once I moved from our head office to the camp, because when I was working at the head office, we did not used to get overtime, but we had a lot of course, free time. But once I moved to the camp, there was so much overtime. In fact, I moved just in time for the month of Ramadan, which meant that there was 2 hours of overtime that I was gaining every single day for an entire month, and plus during the Eid period itself, that meant like 4 full days were being compensated by at a rate of 1.5. So these overtimes here and there helped me to recover so much of that money that I had lost. So at the end of the day, things just work themselves out. As long as you have where's the way, there is a will, there is a way. So of course I continue to do that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you have a target, challenges will come, but don't get discouraged. Continue until you reach your goal. Point to take out there is that you should know why you're saving, what you're saving for, what is your project, what you want to achieve at the end of the day. Is it because you want to go back to school, you want to buy a piece of land, you want to travel abroad, you want to go on holiday, whatever it is. You have once you have set your goal, then you can have a target of how much you want to put away every month, of course according to your monthly income. You can check and see, okay, this is the much that I earn every month. I need to spend this much on tithe. I need to spend this much on maybe supporting my family back at home. I need to spend this much on myself for food and for basic necessities here and there. And then you should know that this much, like maybe you should say maybe 500 or 1,000 riyals or whatever currency you are working with, you will be keeping that away and be disciplined with it. Because without discipline, as much as you will keep it away, you will still find a way to go back and deep into it. And at the end of the day, it will not really help you to reach your target. And the other point is that you should try, if you know that you don't have the discipline of just letting money stay without it itching your fingers to spend, then you should save in a locked savings account. Put your money in a locked savings account. That way, you know that at the end of every month, as soon as you receive your salary, you're going to put that money away and forget about it. Because maybe you have a target to achieve at the end of 1 year or at the end of 2 years, then you just keep it away and forget about it. But at the end of the day, you know that even if you get to a point during the month that you are broke, you still know that your savings are growing somewhere. Especially with this locked savings account, I think that your money will be earning some interest. It may not be much, but at least it will be doing something significant rather than if you're just with it and wasting it. For me, I have the discipline of just letting money be. I can have it in my phone right now. I think once I taught myself to avoid the itchy fingers of spending, I can just leave it there. I can spend days, even an entire week. We do have a shop, a mini mart here, just adjacent to our camp, that has more or less anything that you would want to buy. It has groceries, it has snacks, it has some other stuff, you know, just like a mini mart. But I taught myself not to go and spend there on anything that I really don't need. Not like I would just sit and feel like, oh, you know, I need chocolate and I'm there. No, the things that I really need, like fruits and like vegetables, those I buy. So I just go with a fixed amount, buy and leave that place. So the other thing that really helped me to save last year was the fact that we had limited chances of going out, and that meant that we did not have so many trips to go to the malls. Going to the malls is very tricky when it comes to you trying to achieve your saving goals, because the malls, especially around this place, and I believe anywhere in the world, they are like high spending environment. So once you're there, you will just see things that are very colorful, very attractive right before your eyes, and you'll be tempted to spend. So at the end of the day, you find that you have overspent, or you are over and above the money that you had budgeted to spend. So one other tip, or one thing that happened for us automatically, was the fact that we were not even allowed to go to the mall, or then for a short while especially, I would say that from the time that we were given the chance to go to the mall, even for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, my expenses went really high, and I found myself buying things that I really did not need, because usually I use just the regular oats, you know, these regular oats that you boil maybe with milk, and you add some fruit pieces inside and you're good to go. But once we would go to the mall, I would see this, I don't know, granola, chocolate granola, or whatever, this and that and those. And then I would buy, and then I would become addicted. So once they ran out, I would buy. So I would use like 3 packets a month that cost like 20, which was just a waste of money. Okay, like 20 reals, you know, it was a waste of money. Well, at the end of the day, I just used like 2 packets of this regular steel cut oats that cost me like 10 reals at the end of the month. So you see my point. The more you go to the mall, the more you are likely to spend. The less you go, the less you spend, and that means that the more your savings will be able to grow. So I guess, guys, that is it. Those are my tips, or those are the things that have really helped me to move very close to my goal. Not very close, but maybe 3/4 way through, or halfway through, wherever. Let me say like 3/4 way through. Because I also had some unavoidable expenses. You know that I had to do my exams like several times last year. In fact, I had to sit for exams 5 times, and every time I would sit for an exam, it would cost me 1,200 reals, which is like 6,000 reals in total that I've so far spent on taking tests. 6 times, that's like 180,000 Kenya shillings. So if I did not like have to spend on that, then of course I would have more money put away. But at the end of the day, taking the tests was the whole part of the whole ordeal, or part of the entire project. So that was not money wasted. The only money that I felt was wasted was the one that I spent at the very beginning, the 5,500, which initially was actually to help me with the project. But what made me realize that it was a waste is that after some time, I realized that it was actually something that I would have done without soliciting the help of anyone. And I would have been able to achieve it even better than when I tried to solicit help from people who so far, after taking the money, didn't really even bother to meet their end of the bargain. So one day, when all this is done, I'll be able to share with you the whole project. But I'm hoping that with this video, you actually get challenged and you get the motivation to be a big saver, and to put money away, of course, even if it is for a rainy day, even if it's for a rainy day, just make sure that you are saving. You don't know which time you will need to leave this place, and you don't want to leave this place just waiting for your final settlement, depending on that final settlement to have any money to spend. It happens to so many people. By the time they are going home, by the time they have resigned and they have to go home, the only money that they are actually counting on is their final settlement, which may not be much. Maybe for most people it's around 100,000 Kenya shillings, or some even less, depending depending on the amount of time that, of course, they have spent in the country. So, and what if you have to leave that job unexpectedly? Maybe you get fired, or maybe just something happens and you have to go home and not be able to come back. Like the people who went home for vacation, during the pandemic, and they were not able to come back. So always just think about the future, think ahead, and make sure you have enough savings, so that in case you need to invest in something that will help you to grow, or something that will help you to reach closer to your dreams, then you are able to do that. I really wish myself that somebody had seen that I would have seen such a type of a video when I was still very new in Qatar, and I would have taken it very seriously. Like right now, really, I would have been very far. But still, no point of regretting. There is always a point to start, and I'm glad that I got to the realization of this whole thing at least at the beginning of last year. So I've had at least a whole year plus of discipline and saving and financial intelligence, and I'm hoping that you adopt the same thing. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Put your comments, share on the comment section down below, like your strategies, your tips and trust strategies for saving, and if you are still struggling to save, and why do you think you're struggling to save, or if you're going to start at least supporting your parents more, or whatever. If there is anything that you're going to take home out of this video, I'd like to hear that. So thank you so much for watching, and of course, have yourself a very good weekend, and I will see you on another video. Bye. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, of course, please remember to do so, and I'll see you soon.